right now too.
Thank you.
Cool. And then do you want to go
I'll
first as the
record from my end too, if that's cool. Just
yeah.
maybe that'll make it easier.
Do you want to go first as the interviewer or interviewee?
Um, I don't care either way. Usually I don't want to be the interviewer first, but I actually don't mind. So it's really up. I'm fine either way. It's up to you.
Okay. Do you want to interview first then and get out of the way?
Yeah, I do.
Sweet.
Cool.
Sounds great.
Wonderful. All right, so I think, are we recording from my end? Oh no, I'm not recording. Oh no, I am. What?
I
Sorry,
am.
one
I
second.
think
Okay, wait, I'm requesting from you to record too, just because then I already have it on my
yeah,
computer.
I got you. You're good.
Yay, awesome. Okay. There we go. Okay. Take a moment to like step into the role.
Yeah, same. I had to look at
Mm,
the picture I sent you too.
yeah. I'm just gonna do a little stretch for a second.
Yeah, same.
Mhm. All right. Hi, Bree. Thank you for coming today. I'm really excited
Hi.
to get to check out your genogram that you made.
Thank
Um,
you.
First, I'd love to just hear, like, overall, what was the experience like for you making it? Like, how would you just kind of describe it overall?
It was fun. It was like interesting to try to find things that, because I did it with like physical objects, obviously. So I was trying to find objects that were owned by members of my family from different generations or that like represent things, like based off like cultural factors and like there's like a lot of things that like involve like career choices and cultural stuff and like how those things connect and yeah, so it was like it was fun to like kind of play with like different objects and just see what I had going on.
Did it feel easy to choose the objects? Like, did you feel like it was like, oh, yes, immediately I know exactly what to do? Or did you have to kind of search and like feel it out a little bit?
There were some like the Harley Davidson sweatshirt was my dad's. He rode Harleys. He was a motor cop for a few years and like him and my mom were like in like a Harley thing together. So that was his sweatshirt that I took. And then the shirt next to it was my mom's and I don't know where the buildings on the shirt are, but it looks like Amsterdam and that's where she's from. So that like the cultural part of that and then just like that was her shirt when I was little and she gave it to me. And like my dad is very like American and like Harley is a very like American like kind of thing. So I guess like the cultural things there were like pretty easy. And then the sunglasses were my dad's that I again took. And these are all things like I've just kind of like collected the little, there's like on my mom's side, a watch that belonged to my Oma and a ring that has her ashes in them when she died. And then the two postcards I got when I was in Europe for the first time visiting her family. And like the kind of like the one on the top, I drew those little blue lines on it for like another thing. And I just feel like that kind of is like the flow of everything because I feel like I'm more connected to her side of the family than my dad's. And the little there's like another ring that I got on that trip too on one of the pictures that my mom got for me. And then the little stone I just thought was kind of cute and like I don't know, my grandma liked stones and like rocks and stuff and so it was like I just collected them as a kid, so I just wanted to include that for like my own part. And yes, it was cool seeing like different objects and like what they were used for and like what like my family did with them. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I have so many questions coming to mind. I think my first question is I'm just really curious, like when you look at that layout in front of you, is there a part that you just feel particularly drawn to? Is there a part you like the most, or that kind of like draws in your attention over any of the rest of it?
Hmm. It's a good question. I think just like the composition of like the two clothing items. Because I remember my parents wearing those when I was growing up, and like both of those items I always really liked as a kid. Like his sweatshirt, I was like obsessed with. And then that shirt my mom gave me, like I also just really always liked. So the fact that I have them now is cool. And like the fact that I think it kind of does reflect like, because I don't know, like my mom is a lot more like flowers and like kind of like. la 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 la, like just like kind of like more like hippie-ish, I guess, and like the just imagery around that, like the flowers and the type of shirt, the style it is. And then my dad with like the Harley thing, he's very like he was like a SWAT officer, so he's very like Harley, like motorcycles. Um, and so it's just like I feel like they just have like a juxtaposition, like they're kind of opposite, but like yeah. And like I feel like I have kind of parts of both of their personalities. And same with like even like the glasses that my grandpa wore that are very like big and dark, and then like the pretty watch and the rings. Like I don't know, it's just kind of like it's just kind of interesting to see how they look all together.
I can see the contrast that you're pointing to. And as I notice the contrast, I'm also noticing how I'm drawn to how the sleeves of them are overlapping. Like I'm thinking about how those two shirts could have been like where could the distance be between them? They didn't have to be touching and how there's kind of that the your dad's darker sweatshirt with the lighter shirt of your mom's layered on top and then the sunglasses on top of that. Like I find myself feeling really curious about that. Um
Yeah, that was like kind of intentional. Um, I like wanted them to be touching because like it's like my two parents, and then the glasses like being on both of them. They were my grandpa's, and then my mom's mom ended up wearing like he like left them at our house because he lives in Illinois, and then we gave them to my grandma because she had like eye problems, so she would wear them when she would be like going places because they were really dark. So they kind of belonged to like my dad's dad and my mom's mom. Like they kind of like had were shared by
wow.
both of them, which is really cute and like kind of cool. And then yeah, my mom is like on the top just because I feel like she is like more like she kind of like rules things. Like she's has more like I guess like power over a lot of things. Like she's kind of the one that I go to for things, and like she's the one that kind of keeps everything like organized for the family. Like she keeps everyone in contact with each other. She like my aunt has told me that if it weren't for my mom, my dad and his siblings like probably wouldn't talk. Because my dad
Wow.
like sucks at communication, and my mom is like, no, call your sister, call your brother, call your parents, like get it together. So yeah, that's
I love that there was intention behind the layering. I was so curious, like whether it was
yeah.
intentional or not, but it's just very visually, very striking in that way.
Thank you.
So I'm seeing your parents represented, I'm seeing their parents represented, and I'm curious where you are in all of this. I'm curious if you put anything for yourself, or if you were to take another item or object around you, just something you see in your room or anything, what would you put there, just on a whim?
Hmm. I feel like everything that like I put down, like I've like adopted in some way. Like I wear those glasses like all the time. I think they're so cool. I wear like the clothing items, both of them like pretty often. The rings, have like a lot of relevance. Like I wear rings a lot. The watch, I don't really wear that often, but I just remember my like Oma always had it on and like I thought it was pretty. And then I guess that little stone just kind of like I don't even know where it came from. I just found it in my room and I was like, "Oh, that's cute. Like I'll add that too because like it maybe has some relevance somewhere." But yeah, so I feel like I'm just kind of like intertwined in all of it. But I don't know. I feel like I've always felt a little bit disconnected from my family because we're close, but we've never been like close where we can like I don't know, it's always been like kind of a weird relationship. So I like feel like I'm like part of all of it, but like also like they're kind of like I don't fall I feel like I'm breaking a lot of the like patterns that they all had that I'm like, okay, like I don't want that. Like not for me, no thank you. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of like detached in that way.
You're in all of it and out of the school scene too at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
No, thank you.
Like, wow, that's really cool. I love that.
Thank you.
That's like really poignant. Um, I'm curious if there's any parts of it. So I like when I keep asking you about it, there's a lot of intention in all of the little things. Was there anything you can think of that was really intentional in the way you placed it that we haven't talked about or that I haven't asked you about? Like for instance, like the watch being on the collar or the way that the postcards are overlapping or any other details that you feel like sharing.
Yeah, I did the postcards with the flowers like both have like a ring inside of them. And that was intentional because I feel like my mom's mom was like definitely like the matriarch. Like she like lived with me for like most of my life. Like she was a really big part of my life. And I feel like their side of the family, like she's kind of been what's connected us to like our family that's in Europe and like her her son's mom's brothers that we don't really like they kind of she kind of kept us all in connection with each other. So like the kind of like blue flowy lines and stuff or just kind of like movement and like dimension. And then the ring that has her ashes in them are like in the center of that. And then same with the other postcard below it. Has like a ring that I got like when I was there for the first time when I was like 18. And then the watch, I didn't really think about that being on the collar, but like I guess I could kind of like frame it from my mom being very like when my Oma was still alive, my mom was always very like not paranoid, very fearful of time running out and like of not having enough like time with her mom and like me not having enough time with my grandma and like just my mom's a very like um she's a very anxious person and so I feel like she's always like no, we need to do everything in like a certain amount of time. Like she's very like rigid with that kind of stuff, like very type A. So I guess that kind of can make sense for that. I feel like her side is just a lot more like everything is kind of there than my dad's side because we don't really talk, we're not that close with his family, like his extended family. So I guess that's why his is like a little bit more simple and like a little bit more basic.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, I love that like what I'm hearing is that that wasn't really a detail that you thought through originally with the watch, but I love the meaning that you're seeing in that. That's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Um I guess my last question is there anything about the process that surprised you? Like that you didn't expect what it would be like going into it or anything that comes up around that?
Yeah, I didn't really realize how many items from my family members that I have. I've like always just kind of like collected little things because like my parents had like cool style when they were younger, so like I like to take things. But like having like something from my grandfather, my dad, my mom, my Oma, like traveling there, like postcards, like just so many things that like I didn't really pick up that I had kept for this many years because like I moved around so many times and like so much has happened. So it was kind of surprising how much I had from like members of my family that I don't really see that often.
And it sounds like a lot of it's stuff you wear a lot too, or that you mentioned that you know it's like very much
Yeah,
alive in your life. I love that idea that you're
thank
kind of
you.
like, oh, wow. I didn't realize how much was here, but it's not tucked away it sounds like it's not all super tucked away under a bed in a dark
Yeah.
closet. That's really
All
cool.
very much
Yeah.
out. Like the pictures are on my fridge, like the yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you feel like we should touch upon?
Um, Not that I can think of. I feel like it was nice to be able to talk about like how they all connect because I don't really think about my extended family like that often. So it was cool to like kind of notice things and like intentionally put things in places and see like different connections and stuff. So yeah, it was like a really fun process for sure.
Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Okay, let me. Okay.
Mhm. I love the contrast in yours. I feel like I wasn't supposed to be like, oh my God, I love it, but like I love it a lot.
Thank
So
you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I
yeah,
like
it's
did
really
it
cool.
this morning and like last night, like super because I forgot about it, and then I'm
Yeah.
glad it kind of worked out. Thank
I just love the contrast in the aesthetics, but like I said, the layers together, like just I
you.
obviously don't know your parents, but just like it's such a sense of like your mom and your dad just from the objects. Like it's
Oh my
really
God,
cool.
yeah, definitely. I noticed that too. I was like, it like kind of just like looks like their dynamic. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Hi, Morgan. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing okay, thank you. Thanks
Good.
for
Yeah,
having me today.
of course. I'm looking at your genogram and I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about the process and what was brought up with the imagery and the design and kind of what you were thinking about going into it.
Yeah. I think to be completely honest, I think I expected to put less into it than I did. It didn't take me very long, but I was surprised by just some of like the amount of detail that came up in that time. Um, yeah, I felt a little sad making it. I felt bits of not sad. I don't even know what to call it. It was definitely more emotionally complicated than I expected making it, and there were a lot of little pieces that kind of pieced together that I didn't expect. Like I knew in theory, like, oh yeah, that's like what's supposed to happen as we make it, but then I was like, oh, that happened as I made it. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was yeah. I'd
that's
be curious to put aside more time to explore it like in a deeper way, make a bigger one, you know.
yeah. If you're comfortable, like go into as much detail as you want, but could you tell me like kind of what sort of feelings arose based on certain things that were drawn and like certain images that you made?
Yeah, totally. I guess I'll just do like a very, very basic overview of it.
Mhm.
Like it's hard to talk about the feelings without getting into like so much dynamics and lore and
Yeah.
this and
Yeah.
that. But um I am the character at the bottom left with a little yellow swirly inside,
Mhm.
the little like heart face. And then that's my brother next to me. It's my older brother. We're both like directly attached to my mom, who's the heart and kind of the center, like pretty much the center of things. My dad's to the left. He's kind of that orange flower. I didn't know how to draw it, but I envisioned like a flower with its petals all kind of like closing in. So that was what the vibe was there. Kind of off center, but still there. Um, both of them have two things above them, kind of. Um, the orange flower, my grandpa's on the upper left, the little box, the little twinkly things. My dad's mom is that little like red thing with a purple inside, with the hearts connecting to my mom. There's this kind of crown thing with a big yellow jewel. That's my mother's mother, my nonna. And then this kind of like big open billowy space was my mom's dad, and he passed when she was in her early 20s. And like I've heard about him, but I also feel like I haven't really heard about him. Like there's kind of just the space of where he was with some ideas, but pretty open. And then just some, yeah, like, there's like a lot of details I could get into.
Yeah.
All those floaty bits on my mom's side, those are weird dust of remnants of dynamics with cousins and aunts and uncles that all feel pretty dusty and shattered. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
I'm noticing is it your dad's mom has a connection to your mom, like with like little hearts going down?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, like that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting dynamic that I've been really grappling with the last year. Um, to explain that, I'll explain my dad has all these kind of like green vines coming out of him for his connections and like a lot of little spikes.
Hmm.
And him and his mom, like they're connected, but it almost doesn't feel quite right to me. Like they're definitely estranged. My dad will tell you he hates his mom and she's the worst person on the entire world you'll ever meet, besides his sister. Um, so there's some beef there, some pain.
Yeah.
Um, my grandma, she's very spicy too. I don't know her super well, but when I was a kid, we grew up with her and my grandpa, and like my family used to have a better sense of being connected to them through my dad too. But as my dad has become estranged from his parents, especially his mom, and then him and my mom like divorced and have split up, and there's kind of ickiness there and some dead flowers. My grandma, who is a very complicated person with some really horrific things she's done and bad qualities about her. She also, like, something I love her for is that she's shown my mom a lot of love and warmth. Like, my mom's own mom, the Crown, like, is very cold and distant and, like, not really a motherly bone in her body. Whereas, like, my dad's mom, even though my dad and her have a pretty terrible relationship, like, she really appreciates my mom. And like when she had us kids, like she's the one who stepped in and was like, let me give you advice, you know, for parenting. And like they talk on the phone and stuff. And she really appreciates my mom. So that's a very long answer, but that's kind of what's going on in that dynamic there.
No, I
Yeah.
see that. That's really cool.
Mhm.
That's really sweet. I'm just noticing a lot of the like really intentional little like kind of designs like with your dad, like the thorn like this little I don't know if they're thorns, but, like little spikes on all of his like connecting like vines, I guess you would call them.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of
Yeah.
like thorns was the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. And then also just like the way that like your mom is like the heart that's kind of connected. in a way to like everything. Like, is that kind of, do you feel like that's kind of the dynamic now as well?
I wanted to jump and say yes. I'll say yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Like mostly yes. Um, yeah, she is. She's the one who's really connected to everyone, except for my dad. Like their connection's very, very broken. I didn't even put some of the spikes on their thing between them. The little spikes and well, okay. I'll finish that first thought. I'm the only one who's like out of everyone there, I'm actually the only one who's really connected to my dad, and even our connections like kind of has its limits. Like his connection isn't as ruptured with my brother as it is my mom. There's you can see like there's tiny little flowers on theirs, but like they're kind of small.
Yeah.
Um, whereas mine, the flowers are kind of more there. Like the idea with the little spiky thorns is kind of like a simultaneous, it's like my dad's very intense and protective and anxious and uptight and just very like he has an intensity to him. And so it's kind of like I see these thorns connecting to us as kind of like this protectiveness, like trying to protect us and trying to like keep bad things in the world out from us, but also like the thorns can kind of get pricked in you and cause you hurt and secondhand trauma and fear of the world. Hence the little thorns sticking out of my mom's little heart. So,
Yeah.
um,
Oh.
I don't even know if I answered the question, but yeah,
You did, yeah.
that's what's
I
going on there.
yeah. I noticed you said like
Mhm.
these kind of overlapping like protective like thorns. And I noticed that his are kind of like enveloping you guys, like you and your brother, whereas your mom's
Mhm.
are a lot more direct and kind of like are connecting to she's like touching your like drawings, like touching you guys in a way, like directly, whereas he is a lot more like kind of like outward. So I thought that was a really interesting like
Yeah.
symbolic kind of thing
I
too.
think it's an important detail that was kind of intentional to make my mom so direct. Like, I just feel like yeah, we're both like my mom's very connected to both of us in a way that my dad, like his love is less of an umbilical cord, kind of like, oh, this like, oh, like my mom's always like, you two are my entire life and you're all I
Oh,
ever, and it's really sweet. But she's like, that's my, like, it's like we feel like for better and for worse, such an extension of her. Whereas my dad, like his love is kind of this, there's this beauty in it kind of being its own wild growth, but also this kind of like, protection too, like for better and for worse. It's like less enmeshed, but also spiky. So,
yeah. Can you tell
yeah.
me about where like
Mhm.
you feel like you're fitting into this, like your imagery and kind of like just kind of like why you chose to put yourself where you did and kind of the colors and the choices that you made with that?
Totally, yeah. I started with myself, you know,
Of course.
and my brother next to me. Um Yeah, like our without getting super into it, our dynamic was very like gendered growing up, and I feel like I was raised as like such a girl and like have moved into feeling more like gender expansive beyond that. So I think I don't know, like the pink, blue, and yellow just felt really it just felt like me. I don't know. And then my brother, his is kind of reversed, like being raised as like such a boy, like not to just be really binary. And then there's kind of this pink and these purple sparking off, like kind of it makes sense with his gender, like presentation. I don't know how to describe it. My yellow swirly, my heart, okay, my heart was like kind of connected to my mom. Like you can see my brother has a little heart in his head,
Hmm.
but I feel like that's very much like a certain kind of love that I feel like I've gotten from my mom. And like I feel like I've taken on a similar role. Whereas my brother, like he has that care there, but it's like small and in his brain, like it's much more logical and less like this kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's just different. It's just a different brand, but related. So that was kind of, I don't know, we kind of next to each other, kind of mirroring each other, but like different elements going on. Um, he has the orange, I have the orange from my dad, like in the flowers and stuff on the vines in my hands, and he has it kind of like trapped in his heart. I don't know. I
Wow,
don't know.
yeah.
But
I
he
like
has a
how,
connection to my dad, but it's hidden away. Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I just like how you like made so many connections with colors and shapes and like so many little like connections. I'm curious too, like the flowers at the bottom. Does that represent anything to you?
Yeah, you know what? as I wanted to start out with like some grass, kind of this like shared place that we came from and kind of like the environment we grew up when we were very little, I feel like was pretty nurturing and also like a lot of being outside in the yard and plants and stuff. So I kind of started with the grass and then kind of like my dad's flowers orange, my mom's heart red, kind of making those little flowers because back then it felt a lot more kind of like together and cohesive and alive and just, like a softer little meadowy place to be. And then just the water around it. I don't know. It just made sense to me.
Yeah, I love that. I also
Yeah.
love how like your mom is like colored in and very like solidified, and your dad and the other members are less like I feel like when I think of like plants and like that being a representation, I think of like a lot of fluidity and growth, and then also like not so much growth. Like it's so like just kind of dependent on the situation and like the environment. And so I really like how you like kind of depicted that with all of the images. Like it's really like I feel like it really does like represent what you're saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way you mentioned my mom being filled in too, like that, it's an interesting detail. There could be a lot, I'm sure, to explore there, probably. Can see the
Um,
little one last tiny detail about
yeah.
her, the little like purple hearts. It's like kind of connected to her mom. Like my
Hmm.
mom is so motherly and sweet and kind and caring and nice in a way that her mom isn't, but how like that kind of I was thinking about how like something about my nana does come through on my mom and like the lines going up. Like it had me kind of consider like where my nana gets her whole situation from. That's just like a whole
Yeah.
other thing to get into. But yeah.
Um, well, we have 10 minutes, so I guess I'll ask, is there any like thing that you feel like you learned from this, like creating this, or anything that like you kind of realized about your family?
It's a good question. Like I feel like a lot of little things kind of I feel like I had little realizations along the way. I don't know if any of it stuff I could really put into words that well. I guess beyond like some of what I talked about. Like it wasn't anything like, oh, that's like super brand new, but it kind of helped me feel into the dynamics a little bit.
Mhm.
I think that with my dad, like I think of him as being this thing like way over there, like super disconnected from my family. And it wasn't always that way. So I think this kind of like through making it helped, like I could really feel those connections. Like I think of it as such a rupture and a disconnection, but it
Mhm.
wasn't always that way. So it kind of helped me see that connection for
Yeah.
better and for worse too. Yeah, I guess.
Cool,
So
yeah. I really it looks like really like it looks really like nice, like the way that it's like all drawn out and like composed. Like it looks really good.
thank you. That was my goal was just to make it look good. No.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
The
And the details,
therapeutic
yeah.
benefits are just a bonus. So
Yeah, it's just like I did that. I made that.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, how was that for you? I know you have to go at like 1:45, so I don't want
No,
to.
I feel like that was, yeah, plenty of time.
Cool.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for listening to me talk.
Of course.
I
Thanks for listening
just
to me talk too.
totally. Uh, yeah, I don't have much more to say about it. I did enjoy it more than I
I did
expected
too.
to. Yeah.
Honestly, same. Like I was kind of like, oh, I have to do this, but then as I was making it, it was kind of fun and like I enjoyed it.
I like the idea, like I find myself wondering what it would be like to do it with objects. Like I think that is a really cool approach. That would like kind of, if I did it that way, I think different things would come up. And that would be
Yeah.
cool.
I definitely left out a lot of members that I didn't have anything to represent, but I was like, I don't know, they don't need to be
Like
included.
this, we don't have the time and energy to explore that. I know I'd love to explore mine like on a bigger level or like friends, chosen family, my husband, his family, but I'm like, we're just gonna, it's complicated enough. Like, just gonna
Been a
keep
long
it.
semester.
Yeah, dude, for real. For
Just
real, for
almost
real.
a few more weeks. More weeks.
I know. I'm so glad we got, I'm gonna stop recording real fast.
Okay.
I'm so glad we got through like final